All right, let's get right into it. We are about to unpack a massive power shift that's happening in tech right now. This is a story about how the celebrated hunter in the AI space suddenly, and I mean suddenly, became the hunted, and what that means for literally everyone building or investing in this new world. Does this sound familiar? It should. Just 18 months ago, this was the story. ChatGPT just exploded onto the scene and you couldn't escape it. Every headline, every podcast, every single tech influencer was basically saying the same thing. OpenAI had won, Google was toast, game over. Well, in what has to be one of the most stunning reversals we've seen, that pendulum has swung all the way back. The latest reports say OpenAI has declared a code red internally. And you know what? That's the exact same panic mode Google was in when ChatGPT first launched. The tables haven't just turned, they've been completely flipped over. So, how on earth did we get here? The disruptor, the one everyone crowned king, is now on the defensive. They're in a fundamental fight for their own survival, and it's a battle that could decide the future of the entire AI ecosystem. And this really gets to the heart of our explainer today. OpenAI might be teaching Silicon Valley an incredibly expensive lesson. Having the best tech, the coolest brand, it might not be enough. They could keep building the best AI models in the world and still lose, becoming what people call expensive middleware. Think of it like this. They'd be the brilliant, powerful engine inside someone else's car, completely invisible and ultimately replaceable. To really get what's happening, you have to look at what everybody got wrong about Google. That initial panic, it was based on a total misunderstanding of where Google's real power comes from. It was never about who had the slightly better model on day one. See, that whole Google is dead thing, it was never really about tech capability. It was, and always has been, about distribution. Google's secret weapon is its control over the default user experience on billions of devices. That is its true, almost unbreakable moat. Just think about the scale we're talking about here. 31.7 billion. That is the number of searches Google handles. Not in a year, not in a month, every single day. Then you've got the hardware itself, 3 billion active Android devices that run Google services right out of the box. You don't have to download anything, you don't have to sign up for anything, it's just there. And that empire just keeps going. 2.5 billion people use YouTube. So when Google decides to integrate its Gemini AI, guess what? 2.5 billion people get an upgrade without lifting a finger. And this is the brilliant killer move. Google reached billions of users with its AI, not with some fancy Super Bowl ad, but by just changing the thing you already use. You search for something, and boom, the AI summary is right there at the top. They didn't have to convince you to switch, they just upgraded the experience you were already having. Okay, so if that's Google's superpower, where does that leave OpenAI? Well, it means they're now facing a series of massive threats that are basically trapping them in an ever-shrinking cage. A cage being built by both their competitors and, get this, their own partners. These right here are the four walls of that cage. You've got the margin trap, where they're losing money while their competitors can offer AI for free. Then there's distribution bundling, where giants like Apple just bundle a competitor's AI into their operating system. You've got workflow integration, which just means a good enough AI that's already in the tool you use every day will always be a better standalone product. And finally, partner economics, a deep, deep dependency on a partner that has its own competing interests. Let's take a closer look at a couple of these. First up, the margin trap. And this one is just brutal. According to our source, OpenAI is burning an incredible amount of cash. They're literally losing money on transactions, while a competitor like Google can just give its AI away as a free feature. Why? Because it's all paid for by their ridiculously profitable ad business. OpenAI just can't compete on price. It's impossible. Next, let's talk about partner economics. Look, the partnership with Microsoft is what allowed OpenAI to get to this incredible scale in the first place. But it's a double-edged sword. It also created this deep dependency. Microsoft owns a huge chunk of the company, gets a big slice of the revenue, and has OpenAI locked into its Azure cloud, all while it's developing its own competing AI. See the problem? So if you can't win the game on the other guy's turf, what do? Well, you try to create a whole new game. And that brings us to OpenAI's massive, all-or-nothing gamble to try and break out of this cage for good. But this escape plan is unbelievably risky. I mean, the path is just littered with failures. The humane AI pin? Pretty much dead on arrival.
The Rabbit R1, it sold 100,000 units and then just vanished from the conversation. The graveyard of post-smartphone hardware is a very, very scary place to be. So this is the all-in bet. OpenAI is reportedly working with the legendary Apple designer Johnny Ive to create a whole new category of AI device. The goal here isn't just to sell some cool hardware, it's to escape the cage entirely. It's to finally own a platform, control the user experience from end to end, and build a direct, unbreakable relationship with their users, something they just can't do when they're just another app on someone else's phone. You know, this fascinating, massive battle between giants offers some really crucial lessons. So, what does it all mean for the founders and investors who are out there actually building the future? Let's distill the key takeaways.
Okay, for all you founders out there, the lesson is crystal clear. Amazing tech is not enough. Your real moat, your real defensibility, is distribution. The AI model itself is basically becoming swappable, but being seamlessly integrated into a user's existing workflow, that's how you build a sticky product. That's how you win.
And for investors, this is a critical framework. The big opportunity is not in funding yet another foundational model trying to compete with the big guys. No way. It's in backing companies that use AI to solve very specific problems in niche industries. Think healthcare, legal tech, stuff like that. You want to look for teams that have real early revenue, because that is the ultimate proof that they're solving a problem someone is actually willing to pay for. So if we boil this whole thing down, it really comes to this. OpenAI showed the world that AI could be pure magic. But now they're teaching us all a much harder, much more expensive lesson. Magic isn't enough to build a business that lasts. You need a path to the user, and you need a business model that actually works. And that leaves us with this final thought. We are watching the game shift in real time. It's no longer a race for the best model. It's a battle for the best leverage. And as these titans go to war, they create huge gaps and massive opportunities down at the bottom of the market. So the question for all of us is, where is that next wave of real value going to be found? Because this pendulum is definitely still swinging.